Good morning, everyone. It's 9 and 10. Let's start with our training. You're all welcome. We would like to remind all participants some house rules, if possible, that it is important to have access to a microphone, perhaps in some cases have to have the OPCOO telephone also connected, where the mobile phone can serve as support as a microphone in case they have to present themes and interventions. I will then ask you to enter the Zoom platform now. If you can enter your first name and surname and the name of the institution you represent. That'll make it easier. We've already done breaking runs, so you're already pre-signed for breaking runs, according to the list you saw. If you have any difficulties, you can go and see which of the rooms represents the group in question. The trail was every member of every institution will be part of the institution. Without further ado, I would like to invite all participants to mute their microphones so that we can get started. Before we begin, I'd like to talk to you about Hassan and make a brief introduction. Hassan will today talk about the theme that is business model focused on export, a useful tool to promote export. As you know, it will be a 2-day training from February 24th to 25th. We will have, in principle, a case study that each of the institutions will do, and based on it, then certificates will be issued. Hassan has extensive experience in developing small and medium enterprises in Mozambique, with a special focus on local content development. As a consultant, he worked with government institutions. Several of you, I believe, know us in the oil and gas industry and local companies, which has helped you develop a strong understanding of the business environment at a local level. San has worked in different industries to improve the development of local content in Mozambique, such as extractive or especially extractive in Anadar with MRB Sazol. EE has also been engaged in construction and in an area that tells us all in terms of relevance, agriculture through now promotes trade. Without further delay, then I would like to invite our speaker today, who is an expert with a lot of experience and whom I, in another professional respect, and invite him to make his presentation. Thank you very much, Sam. Please.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Ursula. Thank you very much. It has to do with today's session. I'm not going to talk about myself anymore because Ursula has practically already said everything. If you don't mind, I'm going to turn off the camera because of the internet connection. Before we get started, my name is Sandra Sett. I'm from medium-sized companies. I'm now doing this project with Unibo, and 2 days they talked a little bit about business model. Okay, but before we start a session, I'd like everyone in the chat to write down their full name, their institution, and their job title, for reasons of time. No, I'm not terribly sorry. We're not going to do it individually, however. I would appreciate it very much. Everybody write in this way your name, the institution to which you belong, and your position is fine. I see that some of my colleagues have already written. Claudia Bello Agnella, however, was grateful that the others would just write that this is also important, so that we can also understand who is participating. As my colleague said today, we will make the certificates. So it is important that we also have the name here so that we can also understand who participated and how we will then issue the certificates. Thank you, colleagues who are doing this. There are some rules of the game before we start any session. We have to first define rules. We will try our best to comply with the hours first. Stick to the schedule, stick to the start time. I will ask my colleagues to always put a microphone on mute whenever they come in, whenever I am speaking, whenever someone else, whenever they finish a speech, whenever a colleague is making a speech, whenever they come back from the group sessions, from the break. Don't forget to always put the microphone on the kid. Please, anyone who wants to talk, just raise a hand. Let's have here a very simple rule of not criticizing. What is that? The other, the opinion of the other. All opinions here are valid. Anyone who wants to participate, please raise your hand. If you have difficulty with the microphone, we will also avoid making repetitive interventions. We can always add in chat, okay? We can also use chat to make interventions. Whoever is a little more shy, we can do that. You can always use chat for that. Are you okay? And above all, one of the qualities that appeared most to me was listening. Whenever a colleague is making an intervention, we will listen carefully. We will let the honorable member finish his speech, and then we will give our opinion on this speech once again. There are no opinions either. Misconceptions. There is information that complements one another. So I'm going to ask all colleagues to be interventionists, and we're going to do a lot of group work. OKO, morning is very focused on group work. However, before we begin, I wanted to first do an exercise on expectation. I would like to understand what your expectation is. I will put it here. We all have access to the right link, to the chat. We all have access to the chat. Is anyone having a problem with the chat? I'm going to click here, a link that is Google Jamboard. I would like everyone to access this Jamboard. Let's relax a bit before we start this session. A little intense. Everyone managed to access this link. As soon as you access this link, you will find a page like this is only here in Where Comes the Steak Note. This tool, we can add photographs, we can add objects, texts, we can write. It is a very interesting tool. That's good. I already have many people writing here. That's good. I think it was here for Paolo too. He wrote, here I go. I will copy Paul's and put it here. The other thing we're going to use in this session, which I forgot to mention in the rules, is to maximize the time. Let's use OS, chat, and emojis. If anyone gets out, I ask you to always put an emoji of a cup of coffee or absent or write absent because I will call my colleagues to intervene. However, if you are not, I know you have your activities too. So if you are absent for any reason, please put on, use this, use this. I'm going to put here the emoji that is from the coffee cup UI, just to let us know that you are absent an emoji like this. If you agree, please let's use nice money nice. If not, if they don't agree, we'll use what's not right. So let's try to make this session a little interactive. So let's use these emojis when I ask if we're all together. I'd like you to just make a nice out of those who aren't. Make a little finger down. I believe that during the sitting, colleagues will fill in even more this jump board. When it's all filled out, we can always open new pages and add other sheets. Okay, so let's go back to our session. Colleagues, don't forget the first rule of the microphone. It's not this one. These are tools for this. Someone is sharing, so I can't write. We have activities that are a bit complex and can occupy us a lot of time. So we want to maximize the maximum amount of time with you. I'm terribly sorry about that. But we'll try to stick to what the hours are, okay? So on day one, which is today, we will talk more about the main definitions. We will see that, a little bit about the Canvas business model. Tomorrow we will continue the Canvas business model session, and tomorrow you will do an exercise. Today you will start the exercise, and tomorrow you will finish, and you will prepare the Canvas business model of a certain product, okay? Does anyone have any concerns about the schedule? Please fail now or keep silent forever. As they say when we're getting married, right? We will do a lot of concept presentation. I believe that most of it is not even the presentation. It is more of a refresh of concepts. I believe you already have mastery over these concepts. We will do a lot of group work, basically 2EE. Then we will present these works and discuss about these works. The session will be very interactive. For me to understand, for me to ensure that the session is interactive, I will ask my colleague Ursula to launch the first jump, and I would like to have your answers so I can understand. Your knowledge on this subject is valuable. I'll listen if I can, please.
We just got a second stage of your love then from Nata Device Sessions in NATEP. Give me just a minute. Maybe we can start going to other topics.
That's perfect. But regarding the I would like to know, and Ursula will put this in the afterwards right up next. I would like to know if any of you have already developed any business model. Those who have already elaborated, put 1+1. This little finger mayonnaise. Okay, cinnamon 2, not yet. Who has already developed the business model? I see that many have not, but who has? Exactly, not either. Ursula has already launched the jump here. If anyone can write and respond, I'd appreciate it. To the two colleagues who answered yes, you could write your names here in the chat. or if not, if you can't write all three. Now, if you can't write me her name, Sonia, okay? I suffer Sonia someone else. Okay, so Sonia from now on has been promoted. She becomes my training assistant, Sonia. So I will call you several times because we gained here +1 expert in small and medium enterprises, an expert. In this case, I would like to know, or if you can launch the second question, if you are of the three people who answered yes. Have you already prepared the specific business model for the export market? Sonia has already prepared for the market. Was the business model for the local market or was it for the export market? Did Agnella go to the local market? Thank you, Sonia. This is important for us to know, but Sonia is still my training assistant. Okay, good to know. Sonia has a microphone problem. You can always use EE chat if you can. Tomorrow I'd like you to have the microphone. Sonia will be my chat assistant. Thank you, Sonia. Can we get back to the session? Okay, let me do it here. I'm going to do it on the pool. Is Ursula all right? So let's start now the first session with the main definitions. The export market is a very attractive market. We always want to export. We make what we produce and then we want to export those products. Today it is more attractive financially. However, most of the goals of companies that are in this sector intend to put their product out there, but it's a market. Quite complex. To put a product in the foreign market, we have to understand what our company is. We can't just approach cereal. We are going to develop a product. And this product, the objective is to put it on the foreign market, is we need to understand what our internal capacity is. We need to understand what we have to offer. And we also need to design a strategy. Okay, but before we design a strategy, we have to know our company first. And then we know the market in which we intend to reach. I don't know if everyone is. Most of the members here attended the previous sitting. I don't know if everyone remembers the previous session where we did market research 11. We talk a lot about this. For everyone who remembers, please put 11 for those who did not attend this session. For those who participated, they can remain without any gesture. But everyone who did not participate in the session would appreciate it if they put 111 units, which is for me to understand who did not participate in the session. We first have to realize what the market is, in what market we are entering. We have to know the market. Once we understand what our company is, we obviously have to know the market. If we are going to enter the export market in the area, in the region, if we are going to enter the export market in Europe, if we are going to the United States, if we are going to Asia, we have to know this market. We have to know what the requirements of each market are. We have to know what the demand potential of these markets are. Who are the countries that export to these markets? We also need to know if we have the capacity to meet these requirements. We all want to export, but obviously it's quite complex. Exporting is very different from us producing a flower and putting the flower on the local market. It has its complexities, from transport, from the sale itself to transport and logistics to placing the market there. Therefore, after we do an analysis in the market, we design our business model. The business model is very much based on what the identified channels are. Afterwards, we determine the business model. We analyze the viability of this business. Okay, to analyze the viability of this business, we have to make a detailed business plan based on what the business model is. Okay, and from that we did the research. Research gives us indications of which channels we should use. It also gives us information about the requirements we must meet. There is no point in wanting to export the product. We have to know what are the requirements that we must meet. Then we promote the product. We cannot promote without meeting the requirements, because after the product is not, it has no viability to be exported. Okay, a very important thing is payments. Okay, export has very expensive costs. It is important for us to receive. We have a well-defined business model so that we have enough revenue to be able to feed our production. Then there's the whole logistics aspect. Putting a product in Asia is not the same thing putting a product here in Mozambique or Zimbabwe or South Africa. Placing a product on the European market has its limitations, the whole logistics, and it also depends essentially on the product we intend to export. If we intend to export products fresh, they have their requirements, they have their logistics involved. If we intend to export products, who are they who are not perishable or who would not stop easily? They have. It is more practical, but there are fresh fruit, for example, that even though it is going through a process, the whole process then has its whole parts. Transport, imagine that we are exporting mango and the mango does not come in frame temperature conditions. This mango arrives at the destination or waste. So there is logistics that must be analyzed. There are logistics aspects. There are also customs aspects. And I also forgot to mention in the payments that there is the process of the relationship with the bank, which in addition to the fees and taxes developed. Okay. No, like I said, it's a pretty complex process, okay? This research, the essential thing is that we first do our internal analysis and then do market research. Based on this market research, we will realize what the need of that specific market is and how our product can mitigate this need, okay? This research will also help us understand which channels are the most accessible. From there, we were able to design our business model. Okay, because without doing research, how are we going to design our business model? We have to understand what the market is for us to be able to design what is the most effective business model. And the business model is not linear. After each market, we have to design a business model that adapts to that market, okay? If we are going to export, for example, if we are going to export directly, the business model is completely different. If we are going to export through an agent, through a third party, if not already transport through another company, these are completely different things. As you may know, the value chain is quite extensive. However, we can always figure out how we're going to add value, or the taste model is going to help with that value addition, okay? So what is the business model? There are several definitions of what a business model is. For many, the business model is always to simply figure out how much our product costs, set the price, and put the product to market strategically. Many of the companies do not document the business model, it's shovel. We intend to put is what always happens. In the producers, we decided to produce a certain product that we will put. We already know what the cost of that product is. Based on that cost, we increase the percentage. We are going to put the product on the Zimpeto market, and the product is there. Strategically, we have a business model where our transportation leaves from our facility to the Zimpeto market. That's how we designed our business model. We idealize, we don't draw because we don't document. I think this is one of the biggest mistakes that companies make. Not documenting, idealizing everything we write. We just idealize, think about it. After a while, we forget. However, it's natural for us to be a human being, so it's important to always document the business model, okay? That's why it's a lot. It is also necessary to realize that the business model is not just this. It is not just okay, our market is YO, our product is XE. We want to put our product in this market. That is why sometimes we are only selling a product. We are not bringing the added value of that product to the market. That is why many times the product has no outlet, and companies end up going into a certain bankruptcy or operating at the limit of their company. Why? Because we don't understand what the added value is. Many people think that added value is simply our price or our product. We're not bringing an experience. The business model that provides an experience to a company, okay? According to Alex Osterwald, who is one of the creators of the business model canvas, the business model is the logic of how an organization creates, delivers the added value of its product, service. That is, we want to provide an experience about a certain service or about a certain product. I'm going to give you an example here in one of 1011, my friend, in which the experience in the business model, that is the added value, is what counts most about a company, a very expensive restaurant, and one of the best restaurants in the United States. I had a friend who took his wife to dinner at this restaurant that they had been married for 5 years, 30 years, but it was a super expensive restaurant, super different. They didn't know the menu. They got there, they were well served, but because they didn't know the menu, they ended up eating food that wasn't to their liking. The manager realized this, and the business model of that particular restaurant is not the price, it's not the product, it's to provide an unforgettable experience to customers. Realizing that the lady was completely upset and that it was the lady's coat years, they gave new dishes for them and gave them dishes in which they knew. They asked them what dishes they would like to eat that are not on the menu and provided an unforgettable experience. In other words, the business model of this restaurant is above all to look at what the customer is, not look at what the product is, okay? It is above all to know how we can add value. There's a certain business, there's a certain product. It's not just the price, okay? Another myth is that, oh no, the business model is only for small businesses. or only for startups? No, the business model is crucial for companies that are already established, companies that are already operating. Many of us think that there is a business model. It is only for those who are leaving the do. From the idea to the role, no. The business model is essential for a company to understand what its strategy is. OKO, market evolves constantly. However, for example, I will give you the example now with COVID. Many companies had to adjust their business model. Many of the companies did direct sales, sales in person. Many of the companies had 11 huge establishments, but with the entry of online, they had to adjust what they had to enter deliveries. Others had to insert, they had to change theirs, their reasoning. They had to change the logic of doing business. However, the business model helps these companies understand. They have to document, obviously understand how can they mitigate these trends. Okay, we already know that COVID is coming. We had to adjust the entire model. We have to document. It's not possible for us to say, okay, come on, let's add the delivery service and that will solve our problem. So this is also part of the companies that are established. In the strategic review, all the sessions large companies have in strategic sessions. They use the business model to make an analysis, to realize whether the business model they are currently using is viable to achieve what is the goal of the company. Often, the business model is also used in attracting investments and also in recruiting and motivating people. When we participate, that's our business model with Hercilio. Thank you very much for your question. Are we going to get to that? This is a session dispute. The colleague, he can enter. I will ask him to tell. However, the business model can be used for various purposes. For us to motivate those who are our collaborators, if we involve our collaborators in what is the reflection of our business model, why are they part of our company? Obviously, the most strategic collaborators. Our institution, these will obviously be more motivated and more involved with the vision of this business. Okay, I'll ask my colleague again if he can put the microphone on the mic. Thank you. However, companies cannot. We have to break that myth. The business model is essential to what it is. For what they are, for what is the core of the company, it is important we document this business model because it will always help us make decisions in the future. Okay, they're going to help us analyze what we did. I was wrong. We can also mitigate this challenge in what it is. For example, in these things about COVID trends, we always have to understand what the business model is and understand how we can restructure the company in a way that we can respond to these trends. Okay? With this online thing, for example, many companies that export their product with the entry of e-commerce, they succeed today. They will have to adapt their business model. E-commerce is completely different from direct sales. However, we also need to do this reflection and document this format. Many of us confuse a business model with a business plan. Okay? They really are very similar themes. They are different, but they are complementary. OKO business model is a mechanism through which the company generates its profit. The business plan is already a document that the company that presents the company's strategy. That is, the company has its strategy in this document. We were able to perceive in this document its mode, repairing and perceiving the financial projection of this document, of this company. I'm sorry, okay? For subsequent years, the business model is much more simplified. The business model helps us understand the essence of the business, but not essentially the planning, okay? Then we understand the essence. Validate that essence. We have to demonstrate the viability of this business, the ideas, the business, the adaptations within a company are good, but it is always good to realize what the viability of this adaptation is for an established company. If she wants to export her product to Europe, she has to have a business model that is different from exporting her product to South Africa to analyze after validating. The business model to export its product to Europe, it has to analyze the feasibility of exporting that product. The fact that this product is viable in South Africa does not mean that it will be viable in Europe. The fact that this product is viable in Europe does not mean that it will be viable in South Africa. There are products which are not viable in the local market, which is in Mozambique, but they are viable in the export market. Obviously, the market, the business model is completely different. For this, we then have to validate this business model, and we have to analyze the viability of this business model, the business model. As I said, I'm going to give you an example here. For example, moringa. Moringa is a product that in the export market, that is in the European market, has a very high demand. The price of moringa in the European market is 2 to 3 times more than the price applied here. The purchasing power of the European market is completely different from the purchasing power in our market. However, the business models, despite belonging to the same company, the business models are different. That is, there is also a completely different feasibility study of these two wings, because obviously this why? Because the price and the cost can be the price, and the costs are completely different. The moment the numbers are different, the viability is different, the business model is different, the sales channels are different. This automatically affects what we are going to do. How are we going to sell our product? Okay, when a company or a small and medium company or any other company wants to enter a new market, the mode of entry decides how we will define a business model. If we go to what I was saying, if we are going to enter a local market, we will have 11 business models specific to that market. Every market, every business. And even sometimes each product has a front to market business model. We are talking about the same company that has your product, but because it is in different markets, it has different business models. Okay? That's why there are also several business models, if we were just talking about business models. There is a lot of research that we can do today. Today it is much more developed. Are there business models that are being developed? We can talk about more than 50 business models, but the main business models that we know always come from the direct franchising that we know. And nowadays, online stores, and this is done in many times through business models like us. How? As you can check here on the slide, through business models. B to BB to CB to C, or C to C, or C to BE. I shall now explain a little of these terminologies before I go on. And I would like to know whether members here have heard of these terminologies. Does anyone know what B to BB to CB to C is? Or I quote C, Isaac, not Angela, not the other colleagues. Hercilio, what is B to B? You can take the microphone of the kid if you can talk business of business, Cavel Cavel. Or Hercilio can explain what business of business is. Colleagues, please. Darius, where the cave Darius Hercilius would like to hear from you, just so it's not a session where I'm talking alone.
All right. I don't know if you can hear me, Dario, here.
Perfectly, Darius.
Very well indeed. AA.
B2B.
It refers to transactions conducted between companies.
Thank you, Darius. Exactly. B2B refers to transactions between companies. For profit, for example, we have a marketplace, a wholesale company selling to a retailer, a manufacturer selling to a wholesaler. This is a B2B. It's from company to company. Okay, I'll give you an example here. We have one, my company sells a moringa. Okay, San Moringa sells, pays the Dario, which is the supermarket giving the excuse using your name, no problem.
No problem. No problem.
And selling the company a commercial yoga. Okay, we're selling. I am here. I am the manufacturer of moringa. I am selling moringa to another company that will then sell to end consumers. And that's where P2Co, P2CA, business to consumer comes in. OK is the company for the market, for the end consumer. It is one of the most common types of business models in which the company sells its products directly to the consumer and not to third parties. OK, B2B in the market. Before I talk about B2C, B2B in the export market, it can happen. We sell our product directly. No, there is another company that after that, which sells to the end consumer in the export market, does not happen. Very difficult for us to have a P2P, okay? Yeah, sorry. It's very difficult for us to have a B2C, sorry, not B2C in the export market. We hardly manage to put our product directly to the end consumer. We have to sell to a company, and this company, after placing its market, places the product on the final market, on the final consumer. And that's where OB2CO comes in. It's a business model where we sell to another company, and that company sells to another consumer, one-to-one end consumer. They also exist today with the development of the business model. There is also B2B to B2C, okay, in which the company sells its product to an agent, forgets its product through an agent, this agent. You sell one to a wholesaler in the export market, in the European market, and that wholesaler in turn puts your product in the final market, okay? Any doubts about these concepts? For those who haven't noticed, it's clear. Amancio Octavio, Graziella already knew. Isaac Agnella, we are all together. I ask you to put one just to know if we are all on the same page. Well, this is Octavio. I'm not clear. The latest model, okay? Oh, Bito. Yes, it is when a company offers a product or service to an end consumer. But through this end consumer, there is the intermediary. Okay, for example, do you want to put moringa on the export market? Putting moringa directly on a shelf in a store in Europe is very difficult. Probably impossible because there are processors, other intermediaries in the middle, Okay, however, it sells itself to these processors and these middlemen in the middle who then put their product on the end market. Okay, oh buddy, what?
Indeed.
Claro seems to be a very simple model, exactly, Hercilio.
In the practical way that Tropigalia does in Mozambique, would it be the bitch? Yes.
Tropigalia, if Tropigalia buys 11 of yes, we can say yes. They will assume if Tropigalia is a distributor, an intermediary. Yes, Ursula can correct me because Ursula knows the market better. Location in this area.
Sorry about Sun. I lost a little bit. What were you doing? They're like Spotlight says.
We were talking about, and the colleague asked if Tropigalia is an intermediary. That's it, right?
Well, Tropigalia is a distributor, but it also has a very interesting concept because she brings products. She is an importer and brings products from Portugal and works a little as well as an intermediary, I believe, for another company that they have there, and that comes and then distributes in the local market. So maybe it works, yes, but from the opposite direction, not from local companies there, but in the opposite way.
Exactly. Thank you, Ursula. Thank you, Ercilius. That's exactly it. It's the model. It is the opposite model that Tropigalia does. Elite of the raised form, if done.
Favor? I also have doubts about Mr. Hercilius' doubts. But for the specific case of Nestle, we can consider that the business that Nestle does falls within the B2C business model.
Yes, AA Nestle defends other retailers, and these retailers then defend the end consumer. And many times there is still another intermediary of these dealers because Nestle has super dealers.
Okay, but for determining the model most suitable for OB2B reproduction, yes, that is what we're looking for, as is typically the most common in such scenarios.
It's the most usual. Business also works. We are selling to another company in the European market, and it's our business model. We don't want to know if that let's assume I produce moringa, raw moringa, okay. My moringa is raw, I don't process and I don't do anything. After taking out the moringa, I simply dry it and put it in the club, and that moringa goes to the market of Europe. And there in Europe, after they are the ones who process it, put the product, process, put the product in the packaging and then sell it to another seller. I don't go into that one anymore. Where is he going to sell it? I stopped at him. The risk already involved is with him. I don't know if it's clear. It is.
Now this example fits, for example, that type.
Business?
We have confirmed that ships are departing from international ports with large amounts of manure.
What quantities are we discussing? Apologies, manure, you say. Yes, correct, exactly.
Yes, it arrives at the port of Beira, for example, in large quantities. There is a company there to be able to receive.
Here's the final product.
And do the process.
As for you,
bag that whole kitchen for your brand and sell it. What model is he using? It's OB2B.
It's OB2B. Because the brand, after processing, it's already another E. This answers Ercilio's question. Ercilio, I'm going to give the example of my colleague. We export double. We're not talking about export. I'm going to talk about moringa because we're talking about export, right? We export moringa. We export raw moringa. Moringa leaves without any brand. Okay, it goes to a company in Europe, to this company in Europe. It's processed into powder. into capsules, I don't know what, into tea, and then it's packaged with another brand. So I don't have the right to trademark rights because I sold a raw product that will later be processed. Now, if I do, I have to have a certificate of origin, and this goes on all labels. It is mandatory in Europe. You have to have the certificate of origin, okay? Especially in products like Moringa, for example. Okay, then if I do Beetle Beetles, let's assume I have 1111 Pharma Moringa. Processed Moringa turns Moringa into tea. Okay? Packaging Moringa here in Mozambique has the label and everything. I have the Moringa brand. Okay, I took that brand and exported to Europe, exported through another company. When it goes to the end consumer, it has to go in the same packaging. It has to go in the same way. You cannot change the brand because I am already exporting the brand. I am not exporting just the OKO product.
Kay realized this business model, but also wanted to realize the B2C also applicable to those companies like Ubeo, AliExpress, where you do buy online and then they send the goods you bought. It is not framed. It is the Beatles eSIM model.
Can it be used on the Beatles? And let's assume that now with the online trend, there is a lot of talk about export and via e-commerce. What is peaceful? Then I can use OB2C because I have an online page, I have an online commerce page, and I put my product and I have it online directly to the consumer. That's B2C, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Is that clear?
Is that clear? So the three models are for export. At the end of the day, we're all clear. Can I do OB2B? And I use B2B, I do direct sales with a company. An example of raw moringa. I make raw moringa, package raw moringa, export to a company abroad. This company in turn will sue, will transform Moringa AB to B. I do not enter the subsequent phases of his business. I stopped at the export of raw Moringa B to C. I have a Moringa. Processed into tea, I create my platform and see there, Moringa through my platform. Okay, this goes directly to the end consumer. It's getting a lot of use. With the pandemic, the online business had one of the greatest growth. The police. So with the pandemic, many people today use digital platforms. Obviously, in our country, there is still a lot of renegades due to security factors and everything else. But in the foreign market, there is already a lot of talk in fairs, in online commerce. Okay, obviously, Combito, yes, the online market later has it. Your business model all involved because then you have to take the product out. You have to use a completely different communication channel. You have your surroundings in there. Okay, we can use OB2B to CE. There are other models that is CTO-CO, CTO-BO, and CTO-B is consumer to business. The consumer is the one who adds value to the business. A clear example is YouTube. YouTube has created a platform where the person who has to feed that platform is the consumer. That is the consumer. The more views YouTube has, then the consumer pays. The K, that is the business model, is also evolving. It's not static. We always started with B2B was what most happened in the export market. Then we moved to OB to CE. Today we already have B2B to CEE. Other surroundings inside, of course. Hello, the other members are clear. Was there a colleague who was here with any questions? Claudia, what would be the basis for choosing the most suitable model? Sorry, that's the worst. There we were. There's a colleague from Gap who's got the mic on. I ask you to put the microphone on the kid if he's not going to make any interventions. Thank you, Claudia. It is the most suitable model. It depends on your market research. If we, for those who participated in the previous session, we did market research, analyzed who are the main ones. We talked about moringa, and I think we talked about mango, if not, if memory fails. However, if we are going to enter a market, we have to analyze those that are the sales channels for that market, for entering that market, the most simplified channels for that. Many times, in the export market, it is very difficult for us to sell directly, which is why there are intermediaries, agents in the middle of this business. Okay, why? Because then we have, it's the requirements that must be met, it's all the logistics involved, it's the factors, all of them extras that are not involved. We have to take it into consideration though. Much of the business model that we are going to define depends on what our strategy is and depends on what the market needs are. If the market we intend to reach is through online, the most suitable model is buy talk. If we intend to export raw material, sell raw material, more suitable is buy talk if we want to sell a finished product. The most suitable is UCO. Cavel has a question about the business. Does Cavel know how the YouTube business works? Cavel can take the microphone away from the kid. He's with us. Hello, Sam. Yes, no. I was helping to clarify the colleague. I just asked for a compass and gave the answer to my colleague who asked the question, Okok no, because I see here that there was a doubt between the business via YouTube. How does YouTube work? YouTube is a platform. YouTube is, what do people put videos on there? Okay, the more videos you have, the more views the video has. The person who posted the video earns money. However, YouTube, in turn, has to pay that person. Leonardo's got his hand up.
Well, thank you, Anthony. Well, first, let me say that listening to my internet is a bit unstable. Looking a little at what the agricultural sector is, which is where OFEDS also has interventions. We have the opportunity to look at some. Well, I first say that listening to my internet is a little unstable, looking a little at what is the agricultural sector, which is where AFNDS also has interventions. We have the opportunity to look at some business plans. And at some point when we do the analysis of the business plan, we wanted to understand the business model and when we collect the promotion. We thought that was the business model there, it was promotion. But with the explanation that is being given here, I realized that promotion is probably one of the strategies, EEE. We are looking at the business model already in the final part of the process, which is how we put the product into the market. So I wanted to understand the real differences between strategy. Or what about the business model? I don't know if you can help me understand this training better. Thank you.
Let's just go. I'm going to ask my colleague here just to help me with the time issue, okay? We're a little 10 minutes late. Slightly late, but that's the 10 minutes you guys are late, so we're late too. We're all late, we're all kidding. Leonardo, strategy and business model. Okay, we first have to look at what our business strategy is. The first thing we define what our product is. Once we define our product, we understand what market do we want to reach. And to do this, the most practical exercise is to make the business model through Compass. Let's talk later. From this, we then begin to design the strategy for us to reach the customer that we intend OKEA from this strategy. Then comes the viability of this business. I'm not sure I'm clear. The business model is part of the strategy, the design, the strategy. This is a very complex process. We cannot separate it. That's why I say many of the big companies, whatever it does, should use. We design the business model at the beginning. We no longer need to do any more savings. The business model is wrong. Why? Because you have market changes that you then go to your strategy sessions. You don't look at what the market changes are. You're still using that old business model that doesn't work anymore. Okay, so you have to use the business model for your strategic review. And then we'll look at Cantus and we'll do it. I had talked about it in our agenda a little bit. Leonardo's got his hand up. Still have questions?
There wasn't a mistake. Thank you.
Okay, what I said at the beginning, the business model is essential for us to define or for us to finalize our strategy. Okay? It is part of the strategic process. The first step is to identify our product. The second step is to understand what the market needs. Third step, based on this information, we have already identified the product. We already know what our capacity is. The second step is to understand what the market need is. If our product can respond, if our capacity can respond to market demand, or if it meets the market requirements that we intend to achieve after that, we document. We are already documenting the strategy. From there, we have to analyze the viability of this strategy. And this is all in the business model. What I said, many of us, as we have a big mistake, the added value that we are bringing is our product and our price. Our price is the lowest in the market. Our product is the product. But what is the added value that brings? It's not a business model. That's why many of the companies we sell, to give another example here, we, for example, sell. As it is the sesame that is ground and then transformed into a dough that is widely used in Greece. It is not because I produce humus in Mozambique, sesame. The dough is a sesame paste, okay? I produce humus in Mozambique. My product is unique. I am the only producer in Mozambique. My price is the best. This is my added value? No. Then you have your strategy, which you have to design around this product. You have to understand if you have the capacity for this product to reach Europe. You have to analyze all the factors that are there around, okay? A few examples before we go. We have a Disney business model, okay? Disney has been using the same strategy for over 60 years. Okay, in this image, we can check all the actions of the company, how they are thought, and how they have expanded their services. Okay, sorry, just something came out accidentally. Disney's goal to date is to unite platforms. They have several platforms. The main goal is this, and then they created other platforms. The best example we have is ours. For those who have daughters, I have a daughter. My daughter loves Frozen. I think all kids, girls, like Frozen. Frozen is one of the most classic examples of the many products Disney creates. From Disneyland to toys to movies, magazine, and everything else. This is to say that Disney created its business model more than 60 years ago. However, it updates the model based on what the needs of the market are and is based on what its product brings as added value. Leonardo is like, where? Is it the same fault? Or is with a raise? Okay, I think it's the same fault. Okay, thank you, Leonard. We also have the Razor's business model. Razor, as you may know, she has a bait, hook, okay business model where their strategy is to sell these razors. But these mapping marks are sold at a very low price. What costs the most are these refills. Yeah, it's the most expensive thing there is. We're going to the supermarket. First thing there, we have a chatter machine and we buy a chatter machine right away. But when we go out there and buy the refills are way more expensive than what, ooh. I beg your pardon, only my thing is left. I think my internet can hear me, my internet radar. I thought they let me promote. This business model was created in 1901. Since the beginning of the last century, that is, it is already a super old business model. It is also used today by many other companies. For those who like to drink coffee, they know those coffee machines that go a lot in many offices. Nowadays, almost everywhere we have coffee machines. Coffee machines are sometimes offered, they are free. How much does it cost? The business model is to sell the capsules, the coffee machine capsules that are more expensive. So this is a business model, and Escanzol is the same thing with printers. Printers also have this business. They sell, what do you call it? Printers at a very low price. But then the tuner is what is expensive. His business isn't selling printers, it's selling tuners. Sorry, no, it's outdated, Sora. Thank you. And then we have a Tesla business model. Who knows Tesla? We've all heard of Tesla. Elon Musk, the man of the moment, you know him. Have you heard of Tesla? All exactly electric cars, and now we'll move to the internet, in which we will have satellite internet and everything else. Elon Musk, he has a different business model, which is like seed parrot to consumer, okay? Unlike all the other manufacturers, Elon Musk is that Tesla is the one that sells its products, is the one that sells its cars. They don't have a platform, it's them, they don't have that. There is no other dealers creating dealerships. They do direct sales. They have a network of their own stores, okay, to exhibit their cars, and today they are already creating. What do you call the charging posts of the your car? Okay, we're all back now. Ganela is with us, Amancio is all with us, Valdez Andus Agency is with us, and Pene is with us. I asked 11 of each institution to go, go, go. He raised his hand from GAP. GAP is with us. Apex, Paulo Moraes is also with us. Apex is with us, and we have Dario, who is with us. Perfect. We have all the institutions here. Did I forget an institution? Ursula, I think they are all perfect. Pick up, please. I'm terribly sorry. I'm sorry, Mrs. Graziella, but you're with us, me. The first question I asked of this session was whether we had already heard about business models, whether anyone had already made a business model. Sonia was one of the people who had mentioned that she had already made a business model. Sonia, when you made the business model, this question is for you. Dario, confirm if Sonia is online.
I think so. She's in another sector that I can't visualize, but I want to believe she's here.
This is perfect, Sonia. I wanted to know if when you made the business model for the company you designed, you used the business motel comparable. To clarify, right? To liquidate, perfect. So AA Sony is our assistant here. Today we have 111 other pallets. So for us to document our strategy or our business model today, in 1900, Disney, Gillette, and other institutions, Nestle still not for them, Canvas still did not exist. They drew up the business model based on what was their experience and based on in 1900, almost a century ago then. They used other methodologies. Today, with the development of technology, with the development of research, we already have new models that facilitate us, or that guide us, or that guide anyone else to elaborate the business model, which is the Has anyone heard of Canvas? Just put nice if you haven't heard of it. I know Sonia is already. Who hasn't heard of business model Canvas? Who hasn't heard? Just so we know we're doing proof of life. How? Like as I said there in no, in public institutions we want to know whether people are there or not. Okay, they are present. They have all spent their lives. Rosario has heard of it. Cavell has heard of it for a long time. Rosario Dugap would like to hear your voice. Have you heard of it? Yes, I've heard of the perfect canvas. Can Rosario explain a little? What is canvas? Pay attention to the rules of the game. There are no wrong opinions. All opinions are right. We just want to hear your opinion. Have I heard of it? No, I didn't. No.
I've developed a lot. I know it's one. It is a slightly more abbreviated process in relation to the all ones.
Yeah.
One is a single page, only it's not. Dinal is eager to contribute to Dinal do IPM significantly.
I mean a lot, right?
Dinal is listening. Yes, we would like to listen. You just put a little bit on a kid. Now Dinal would like to hear from you a little bit about campus. The only person who can't talk is Sonia. That she's without a microphone? Yes. What is the...
Well, I'll summarize too. Yeah, it's a model, right, where it can be easily detailed is let's go. The value proposition is not what a company has to offer, but we can find there the product, the service, the distribution channels. The price is not. And the way this product is going to be, it's going to be distributed.
Guess what? Adenel got promoted and is now the new one. The new assistant means we now have another person well-versed in Canvas, which is excellent. Codenel shared this insight about Canvas. Just to reiterate, Canvas is a strategic management tool that facilitates the sketching and development of models. Business OK is an extremely effective tool in the high impact market. OK was created between 2004 and 2010 by Alexander Oster Walter. You can enter, there is a lot of information about Alexander, and there is a website called Strateguider that I will later share with you. There is a lot of information about Compass, much more information that we are going to give in this session. Okay, it's is super relevant. This model today, in addition to helping to take the idea from ours, to take our idea to paper, it helps us to organize or set up the operation of the business. Simply put, it's basically a document, a single page. It contains 9 blocks, 9 elements we want to talk about. And as I said, it allows you to visualize those that are the key elements of the business. The Canvas template is very useful, as I was saying. Now, in doubt about Leonardo's do, the Canvas model, look at Hercilio. Before I move on to the question of do, Hercilio is also promoted to assistant. We're getting a lot of assistants here, that's good. Next training I no longer need to give. Ursula and Alberto we have here. Experts who can provide this training to SMEs have already been identified. They're already identified, so that's it. It is a very useful tool. It is not just to get the idea of paper, but to define what is our strategy. It's super used for businesses that are already running because the market is quite volatile, okay? The market is undergoing several changes, and the clear example of this is COVID. We do business in one way, but with COVID, we were forced to change our way of being, pretty much all of it. Every business has been forced to change in some way. Anything, even that lady who sells in the market today uses more in Pisa, for example, than payment in cash. And in using the company, it had to change its business model, had to do some restructuring. So this means that even the big company also undergoes changes and stops. One way we mitigate these changes and trends in the market is often to document the business model or update our strategy. And for that, we can use Canvas. Okay, Canvas is simply a page on which you understand all these new elements, the customer segment, the value proposition, the relationship, the revenue streams, the channels, the key activities, the resources, the key partnerships, the resources we need, the core structure. Then we will live in detail each of these aspects. Okay, sorry, I'm getting my throat a little blind. I apologize. In the meantime, we will check all these aspects in detail to understand how we put our ideas into this single document. It's the only document we present to the company, where the company on this page, on this single page, will define those that are the key aspects. To design your model, obviously you have to implement it, but this here serves as a guidebook, okay? Notice the difference of this structure with the difference of the Disney VOD, with the difference of the Razor, with the difference of the Tesla. That is, this structure can also be adapted. It does not mean that it is static. Okay, the components can be changed in a certain way depending on business to business. Tesla was created recently, used this instrument as a script, and then adapted what is your reality. Okay, first let's talk about the customer segment. So the customer segment is the first and most important building block of Canvas's business model plan. Canvas looks at the customer. The customer is the most important thing. We are responding to the customer's need first. We look at what our customer is. Who are we? Who do we want to sell to? Okay, we already have a product. For us, that product may be good, but for the target market, we don't know. So we have to know who our target market is, who we are selling to. There is no point in having an infrastructure. There is no point in having a good product, but then that product is not consumed. I'll give you an example. With COVID-19, all institutions, or did the whole market start producing masks, started producing alcohol gel, and so on? In some markets, it is no longer. It is already allowed to walk without a mask, such as England. England prohibits the use of masks. So it means that mask producers in England now have to redefine what their business model is. Analyze your customer segment over a period of time. I hope they have done that, otherwise they will go bankrupt. Otherwise, they will have to have more supply than demand. Okay, that's an example I'm giving, but we have to understand what our target audience is. We have to know the customer. If there is no target audience, the product or service.
Product or service is not sold, not being sold. What happens? Doors close. If there is no revenue, if there is no sales, there is no money. If there is no money, we have a product. We have to have the market, but we have to know what our target audience is. That is why the customer is the focus of any business.
It is the focus of any idea. Okay, we can have a processing unit, a vast production couple, but if the company doesn't have a customer for that product, the company goes into financial default. When it goes into financial deficit, it means that the company is at risk of bankruptcy. Okay, often companies, they focus on production, forget about sales, and say that it's not a shovel. I'm producing, I won't sell. That's why Canvas brings you a perspective from the front. You're going to produce. But first you have to know who your customers are. And that's a mistake we make very easily. We committed a lot. We don't look at what our customer is. We don't look. We look at the product, we think about ourselves. It's shovel. Because I like shirt X, I'm going to sell shirt X. No, you don't know if that shirt will be accepted in the market. Okay. If I like moringa, I'll use the example of gluten-free products. I like it. I am allergic to gluten. Do I have to buy gluten-free products? Okay, bread and everything. Why do I have to buy gluten-free products? I'm going to open a gluten-free factory. But I have to realize if my market is receptive to this product, because otherwise the product will only be consumed by the owner. And then what happens? You have no business, you go bankrupt. So the first question we should ask is, who are our customers? Okay, who do we have it for? Who are we selling to? And these customers can be segmented into distinct groups based on needs, based on their behaviors, based on their social profile, demographic profile, their interests, their motivations, and among other particularities. Okay, I'll give you another example here. In Europe today, the demand for healthy products has increased dramatically. One of the reasons was COVID, but this was already happening. People are looking for healthy products. Most customers want organic products. So we have a customer there that is Germany, which is one of the biggest consumers of organic healthy products. So let's assume that we produce moringa, our market targets our potential. If we want to export this moringa, our customer, if we want, I will talk about Europe, or we are promoting export to Europe. Our target market is Germany. How do we know Germany is a key market? What actions did we take to identify it? The demand for healthy products has increased dramatically. One of the reasons was COVID, but this was already happening. People are looking for healthy products. Most customers want organic products. So we have a customer there that is Germany. Which is one of the biggest consumers of organic, healthy products. So let's assume that we produce moringa, our target market, our potential. If we want to export this moringa, our customer, if we want, I will talk about Europe because we are AA promoting the export of Europe. Our target market is Germany. How do we know it's Germany? Can anyone tell me that? What did we do to get to Germany? Who participated in the previous session? I know Dario participated in the previous session. I know Hercilio did too. Exactly, we have to do a market analysis. We have to understand the market. Thank you very much, Hercilio. We have to understand. So by doing this market research, we already know that Germany is the market we intend to reach. So we started looking at that customer like Germany. We begin to understand what the needs are, what the demographic profile is, what the need of consumers in that particular country is. What is the social profile? What are the motivations? What are the interests? Let's assume that we are all here. We have an EE product. We are in the northern region of the country. We are on the island of Mozambique, for example, where most of the population is Muslim, and we open a Palcario de Porto processing unit there. Obviously, if that pork processing unit is for that customer, we automatically won't succeed. Most Muslims do not eat pork. So we're analyzing our client.
We're getting to know our client. So that's what we do. If we're going to bring the product to Europe, we do market research. We have identified the countries we want to export. Germany. The Netherlands is the largest consumer of moringa. Based on that, we start analyzing the demographic profile of that country, the behavioral trends of that country, and from there, we reach the potential buyers. When we get to the potential buyers, exactly Cavell. Cavell also happens to be promoted to assistant. Thank you very much for your contributions, Cavell Dario. And so, then we have to know the country. After we know the country, what do we have to do? We know the dealer, target group in that country. We're back to business to consumer, if we're going to sell. The product to the final consumer. We have to know if our product comes out packaged. If moringa already comes out in packaged tea to Germany, it means that the final consumer is the population. So we have to know the population of Germany, the tendencies of that population. If our moringa comes out raw, it is exported to a company in Europe. That company in Europe then does the processing, which is the business of the business. We have to know that company, or this group of companies, AAZ. We have to know what they are, how these clients work, okay? There is also the ilidio of gap. It's that to leave a comment no less important. When you want to export, it is important to know the political, economic, socio-cultural, technological factors, environments of that country in the region. By registering, yes, we are getting to know our customer. Okay, let's assume we have a product that doesn't hold up in certain environments. A lot in very cold climates doesn't make sense. We have that product there because it spoils easily. So we also have to understand what they are, how this country is in all aspects. If we are going to send 111 product, for example, to a war zone, we have to realize that the logistics involved in that this product for that zone is at risk. Okay, what do you call it? Can they attack ours, our truck, or our merchandise, and so on? Okay, so we need to understand all these aspects of the country, of this country. How do we do this? By understanding what our customer is and segmenting what customers are. Customers can be segmented into distinct groups based on the needs of each customer. One of the market segments we know is the mass segment. Everyone has heard of the mass market segment. We know the mass market segment. We've heard about the mass market segment. If you've heard of it, I'd like you to put your fingers on it, please. Who wants to contribute, for example, the mass market segment? Here we are already talking about a fairly broad market, okay? The mass market is an example. It is Vodacom, for example. Vodacom has its services for market MPs. They are for parents of people. It's an easy market. It's let's say specific okay, are very vast markets. Okay, then we have niche markets, niches. What are your specific markets? For example, let's say we're talking about the organic market. It's a specific market. We have to analyze that niche market. If we have an organic product, our product goes to a certain type of market. Let's suppose we produce moringa. Moringa is organic. The cost of moringa is high. Mozambique is a market for this organic moringa. Is our local market a potential market for this? No, not because the niche is a very specific market, so it has no potential. So we have to analyze the niche of this market, what it would be like in Europe, and how would it work? Who are the people who are involved in this? That is, okay. Then we also have diversified markets. That is, they are markets in which there are people from different areas where we have to serve the diverse people, but with the same similarity. Any questions? Are we all together? Grandpa, meet people with the same similarity? Yes, we have the same product that meets excuse with people, not with the same people. Different. We have the same product. We put the product on a platform that is Amazon, for example, and there we will serve people with different interests. Thanks for the correction, right? We're all together. Let's do proof of life again before we move on to the next phase. I would like you to put your little fingers there just to know if we're all together. Give it like this after we realize what our client is. Let's understand how we are going to create value. What is the added value that we give to this customer? Okay, we first have to know what the proposal is, who our customer is with, and then we have to realize what the value we add to that customer, i.e., to understand, after all, are people interested in our product or not? Because we have to realize what value we want to give to ensure that there is interest in our product. Yeah, it's a little complex to do this exercise. We have to understand what is the customer's need that we are filling, what is the problem that we are solving, how do we solve it? This value proposition is stable for a business. Often when we talk to companies, when we ask, what is the value proposition of your business? My product is the cheapest in the area. But that's not a value proposition. Okay, your product may be the most affordable, but it may not have the desired quality. It may not respond to the need for the problem that the person has, which is why it always says, not always the cheap one. Cheap is expensive, right? Is it? That's what they always say. But a lot of the companies, when we talk, you guys who assist companies directly, have gotten this kind of response, right? IPN people who always talk to many companies or not. That's right. Thank you, Cavell. Thank you, Adanella. That's exactly why a lot of people, when we ask, but what is the value proposition of your business? Oh, mine's the cheapest. But that doesn't mean that this cheaper one is responding to the need. If the product is for the mass market, maybe more so. It is not the price that adds value. What adds value is the experience. It's the added value, which is solving the customer's problem, okay? Developing a value proposition is fundamental to success, to the success of a company, okay? A lot of people think that the product itself, that the price is solve it, but no. So for us to create the value proposition, we have to put together blocks, okay? We have to put 2 blocks together. You're spinning 1 minute of sound. We have to put these 2 blocks together. We have to unite the customer segment and the value proposition. We have to know the customer, okay? We have to figure out what their pains are, what their gains are, and understand how does our product respond to these customer pains. Okay, we're clear, okay? So we have to understand. What's that? Why do people, essentially, we have to realize the following. Why do people? Why should the consumer buy? Why Germany? Why Holland? Why Portugal? Why do EU countries have to buy with friends or not with my competitors? Moringa today is not only produced in Mozambique, it is produced in several parts of the country, of the world, and in the country too. There are several moringa producers that everyone wants to export. But what is the added value that producer brings? Okay, what's the added value versus local competition? Let's assume that we in Mozambique have 3 moringa producers. The 3 want to put it in the foreign market. So each of them has to bring added value to be able to place their product. And how do you do that? Does that make you know your client? Okay, understand how you will solve the customer's problem. Sometimes it's not just the price that solves it. There's the service that's associated with it. Who will you export to whom? To those who say that its added value is exporting raw. There's another who says, no, I'm not exporting raw, I'm exporting my brand. So that's my added value. Then he has to look at the end consumer. Okay, any questions before I move on to the next part? So we have to know our customer first. Then we have to know how we are going to solve our customers' problems through this. The organic, yes. Hercilio can be a differential. I have a product. I have an ear 100% organic. The KA, variety also the service. In a round, I put your moringa on your door there in Europe. Okay, we have 11 contracts with, or we have a European representative. We have a representative in Dubai, or successively. But for that, we have to know our client. We have to know what are the pains of that client. We have to identify. We have to know the customer, okay? I'm going to ask now for everyone to be attentive to the next part, which is the last part for us to be able to do the exercise. Okay, it's essential. So how do we prepare this value proposition? We have to know the customer's profile first and then define the value proposition. OKO, the objective of this tool is to help us design a proposal that fits the needs of the client. The value proposition helps us to guide, that is, it helps us define or move in a structured way towards what our goal is. It serves as a script, okay? So the first step we have to take is to better analyze our customers. We have to draw the profile of our client. So we have to look at three things. First, we have to know what the tasks are, what the gains are, and then what the pains are. First, we have to understand what are the functional tasks of our client that we are trying to solve. What are the activities that our clients, or what is the need that our client has that we intend to solve? OKO, what are we? What does our product aim to solve? What is the problem that our product has to solve? Okay? Which ones aren't? What are the needs we are meeting? Okay, we're meeting the need for hygiene. If we are satisfying the need for food, for health, we are satisfying the need for services, okay, for transport. What are we doing? What is our product? What is the need that is solving this? That's the first thing we have to do, okay? Then we have to realize what the pains of our client, our potential client, are. What are the negative emotions? Okay? If there's situations, if there are negative experiences, if it's high cost for us to know our customer, okay. If it is time, the duration of delivery itself requires a lot of effort on the part of the customer. What makes our client feel bad? Okay, to try to solve your need. Okay, what are the solutions that are AA leaving our customers to be desired? What are the main difficulties that customers face? We have to know what all the negative aspects of our client are. What is it? What keeps our client, for example? Now with the issue of, I'm going to give an example of COVID. With COVID, we were all worried. All the negative aspects are that no one wanted to catch COVID. So, if no one wanted to catch COVID, we were afraid of passing COVID to our family, to our children. So, successively, we were afraid of dying. However, we begin to know what the pain of the client is. Okay, what are the barriers? We had barriers for customers to buy masks. In the beginning, masks were very expensive. Alcor was inaccessible. So these barriers, all we have to know, are considered as pains for our client. Okay? Any questions about the client's pain? If we for example, want to export moringa to Europe, the first thing we have to know is that the production fields in Europe, due to their size, are smaller. Europe is, for the most part, a country more importing of the ready matter than, and they are looking for a highly nutritious product. Okay, healthy, okay. So demand, that's a pain because they don't have it. I don't know if I can figure it out. We are clear. Yes, it is clear. Perfect in relation to the gains. So we have to realize later, we already know what the tasks are. We already know what the pains are. We need to know how to make our customers happier. How do we mitigate this actor? Okay, if it's reducing delivery time, if it's the effort he was making, we reduce the effort, increase the level of product quality. We're cutting back, we're making sure the customer is happy. Give us a personalized service, okay? Give us a little bit of a drawing of a product up to 4. We improved our design. This will ensure that the customer has a gain, that the customer is happy, okay? We are clear by doing this. We have already drawn the profile of our customer. We already know who our customer is. We already know what are the problems that our customers are facing. And we know what are the gains that they can have with our products, okay? Then we started creating. The added value, added value. The first thing we do is look at 3 aspects. Okay, we first look at the product service. We look at how we are going to alleviate these pains. Okay, how are we going? Provide these gains for the customer. Okay, products and services. Products can be tangible things. Services, we can't, there is a different service. Products we are talking about, services are things we don't touch, right? It's a service, but it comes at a cost, of course. Okay, first we identify what our product and service is. There are services that are associated with a product. We can put identify here. So then we ease the pain. Exactly what comes out. Pain can also be considered as a weakness of the client. The client's weaknesses. Paul is without a microphone. Any questions? Okay. So we start to describe how our product can relieve. A pain saw. Okay, how they eliminate or reduce negative emotions, how our product resolves unwanted situations, how it reduces time, how it improves customer feelings. What is our product? It puts an end to the challenges the client is facing. How does our product eliminate risk or reduce risk? For example, with COVID, everyone was looking for products that eliminated the risk of people getting caught. COVID, because the person was afraid of catching COVID. So our product was the mask. The mask relieved that pain, in quotes, because it didn't eliminate the risk of getting caught, but it reduced the risk. When the issue of the vaccine came up, everyone wanted to go get the vaccine. Why? Because it reduced the pain of getting sick or the risk of getting sick. Okay? Exactly, products based on ginger juices have the more, say, healthy products started to have a greater demand. Yes, they started to have greater demand in the European market because they reduced the risk. Europe was one of the countries that was one of the continents most affected by COVID. We've had a lot of deaths. They remember Italy, Spain, and England, where they had very high numbers. Therefore, individuals in these German-speaking countries started showing a greater inclination towards consuming healthy products and even embracing a healthier diet, which directly benefits my healthy product.